And just like that, the CPL provincials are done. As some of you know, I've been preparing for two back-to-back competitions for the last little while. Originally, the WPC push-pull meet that I was going to be in was supposed to happen on January 22nd, but because of things like COVID and rescheduling and everything, it got bumped till March 26th, which was only actually 2 weeks after this full power meet. I'm not gonna lie, I probably won't ever do anything like this again, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in the WPC meet recap, which will be part 2 of this video series I'm doing. So it's been almost 2 years since I was on the platform for a full power competition. And I'm not gonna lie, my nerves were becoming a bit of an issue. I've only really been in the game since 2019. Those competitions seemed like they were ages away and they were done by somebody else. I know, I watched the videos and I'm thinking like, how did I do those things? It doesn't make any sense, but that's just where my head was at. It's funny because you spend all this time training and preparing for something like this, and then on game day, it's like you're fish out of water in some ways. The nerves just get to you and you're like, wow, am I even capable of doing my openers? And it's a horrible feeling to have, but I think especially newer lifters in the game will probably experience this at some point. So this is my opening squat, and I think anybody who's done this before knows that your first squat attempt is going to make or break your meet, or at least your confidence for that meet. So while I could have gone heavier, I decided to open with 452 because I knew it was a number I could hit definitively. And as planned, it moved really, really quickly, but coming out of the rack, it actually felt really, really heavy on the back. And I think that was something that kind of threw me off a little bit because 450s never really felt quite like that before. Anyways, it moved well, so we moved up to 479, and I think this is where things started to really come together. This is where the feeling of the platform, the crowd, the judges, everything started to really click, and I found that this moved exceptionally well, much better than it has even in training. And this made me comfortable for my third attempt, which is going to be 500, which would be an all-time PR, considering before this, I think the heaviest squat I've hit is 495. So this is 501, and in my head, I'm already pretty confident going into this. I hit 495 about a week and a half before this, and that moved really well. And despite all that, coming out of the rack here, I actually felt like my left arm was a little bit out of position. Something felt a little bit off, but I was already out of the rack, so figured might as well go forward with it, and things moved. So all-time PR and meet PR for the squat. So this is event 2, this is the bench press, and this is actually the event I was most confident in, and yet also the event that I had the most trouble with for my second and third attempts. So I decided to open with 319 point whatever it is, because that was my third attempt of my meet PR from my last full power event. So decided to open with that. I had hit 325 pretty easily in training about a week and a half before, so I was confident things were going to work out really well. Even on this lift, I ended up touching down a little bit high on the chest, and things felt a little bit off. I ended up engaging a little bit more shoulder, but things still moved relatively smoothly, so I moved on to 150 kilo, which is about 330 pounds after this. Now, I had done a virtual meet with Brawn Power, which is a powerlifting application that helps track our progress as well as connect us with other lifters in the community across the world. And I had done 335 for that. So I was feeling pretty confident about this lift because it's about 5 pounds less. This really, really moved a lot slower than I thought it was going to move, especially midway up the rep. And I told myself that if things moved really well with 330, that I would bump it up to 341, but in this case, I only made the 2.5 kilo jump to 336 because I wasn't feeling overly confident after that lift, and you'll see here that this is probably a good move. Things really, really start to struggle about mid-rep, and this is actually something I made some small adjustments to for my second meet that would take place 2 weeks after this. But anyways, got the lift, 336 is in the bag, and that's still a meet PR. Okay, so here we're in the final stretch, we're in the deadlift event now, and things are feeling pretty good right now. So I'm opening with 540, which is about 11 pounds under my third attempt for my last full power competition. Things moved well, so I move it up to 562, and this would be a meet PR, but maybe not all-time PR as far as things are concerned. In the gym, the best pull I've made is 570, so I was pretty confident I would hit this as well, and as you see here, after I engaged the pull, things move relatively smooth. Now, yeah, it did feel a little bit difficult off the floor, but I mean, we are getting to that 100% or very close to 100% point, so I kind of expect that to happen. Now, because all my friends, or all the guys at the meet, are YOLOing their third attempts, and I'm already now 8 for 9, I say screw it, let's throw on 265, so 584 pounds. This would be an all-time PR, and I think at this point I was just fried. So ultimately, while I didn't have a perfect meet, I am pretty happy with this. I wanted to be around the 1400 point for my total, and that's essentially what we got here. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 2.